Scorpio, listen carefully, because this will not sound like the life you're living right now, but it is already vibrating toward you. Somewhere in the unseen, a man of wealth and influence is being nudged in your direction, not as a fantasy, not as a savior, but as a walking answer to seasons where you sowed in silence and reaped in tears. This is not a coincidence story. This is a you didn't give up story. Heaven has been watching how you stayed loyal to your path when nobody was clapping, how you carried weight that would have broken softer spirits, and how you kept choosing integrity in a world that rewards shortcuts. Now, the current is shifting. If you are here hearing these words, that is your first sign. You did not stumble into this message. You were guided. Draw in a slow, deep breath and let your body tell you whether this truth already lives in your bones. For so long, you've moved like a quiet storm, powerful but unseen. While others announced every little effort, you did the opposite. You worked late when nobody knew. You prayed when nobody believed. You held your tongue when anger would have been the easier language. You gave help you never posted about. You carried responsibility you never complained about. You showed up for people who did not have the capacity to show up for you. And little by little, this created a strange ache inside you, not just exhaustion, but a question. Does any of this even matter? Does anyone see this? Does heaven even notice? You watched less deserving people be chosen, promoted, celebrated. You watched someone with half your heart and a fraction of your effort receive what you quietly dreamed about. That did something to you, not just in your mind, but in your spirit. Yet somehow, even when bitterness knocked, something stronger in you refused to let it in. That something is why this message is now finding you. When heaven prepares to move in your life, the first sign is never loud. It's subtle. It's that persistent inner urge to shift your life, to clean your space, to adjust your standards, to say no where you used to say, it's okay. Maybe you felt it lately. You've grown sensitive to chaos. Environments you once tolerated now feel heavy. People you used to chase now feel strangely distant. The places where you used to beg for a chair suddenly don't feel like they're worth standing in line for. This isn't you being difficult. This is your spirit outgrowing rooms that were never designed to hold your next chapter. And when your energy rises like that, the universe responds. Life begins to magnetize people who are operating from a higher level of integrity, stability, and abundance. The wealthy man being sent toward you is part of that response. This man, whether he appears as a business leader, a mentor, a benefactor, a partner, or a quietly powerful ally, is not coming into your life because you are needy. He is coming because you are ready. His wealth isn't just money. It might be financial, yes, but it is also his experience, his network, his stability, his ability to open doors that have been welded shut in your face. He carries a frequency of abundance that matches the person you have been becoming privately. He does not arrive to complete you. He arrives to confirm you. Think of him as a bridge, not to save a drowning soul, but to help a powerful swimmer cross an ocean that should never be crossed alone. This isn't about dependency. It's about alignment. Energetically, your chart has been under pressure for a while. Whether or not you know astrology, you've felt it. The pressure to transform, to shed old skins, to release what no longer fits. The old you thought you were starving because life was taking things away. In reality, your higher self was saying, we cannot carry these weights into the future that is being built for us. That is why relationships broke, jobs collapsed, friendships faded, and familiar paths became impossible to walk. You misread it as punishment, when in truth, it was preparation. Heaven doesn't send high-caliber help into a life built on unstable foundations. It had to clear what was counterfeit before it could introduce what was real. In the tarot language of your soul, you've been walking through tower energy for some time. The sudden endings, the hard truths, the moments that knocked the illusion out of your hands. But after the tower falls, another archetype rises. The King of Pentacles, the Emperor, the Hierophant, the grounded, mature masculine who builds and protects rather than exploits and drains. The wealthy man being sent into your orbit carries that energy. Again, this doesn't mean romance for every Scorpio watching. For some of you, he appears in a strictly professional form, a boss who sees your hidden potential, an investor who believes in your vision, a mentor who refuses to let you keep shrinking. For others, he may show up in love, but not the unstable love you've known. This is steady, rooted, responsible energy. This is I said I would and I mean it energy. The important part is not his clothes, his age, or his job title. The important part is how your nervous system responds in his presence. You may feel unusually calm, seen, respected. There will be no need to dance for approval or shrink to be accepted. He won't be impressed by performance. He will be drawn to truth. He will notice the way you think, the way you carry pressure, the depth behind your silence. You won't have to explain that you've been through storms. He'll see it in your eyes and quietly respect the fact that you're still soft. That is what true wealth recognizes, not just talent, but character forged in fire. Heaven is sending someone who sees the version of you that heaven has always spoken to. But before this man steps in, there is a question only you can answer. Are you ready to live like someone whose efforts are finally being rewarded? Or are you still attached to the identity of the overlooked one? Because if this opportunity arrives and you still feel secretly undeserving, you may sabotage it, you may doubt it, you may talk yourself out of blessings that were written with your name on them. That is why, right now, life is inviting you into a quieter transformation. You're being asked to release certain beliefs, that good things always leave, that every gift has a hidden punishment, that every generous person will eventually reveal a cruel side. Those beliefs were shaped by real pain, but they cannot travel with you into the world you're walking toward. Practically, this season will ask you to do 3 things. First, get your inner house in order. That may look like organizing your finances, updating your resume, clearing clutter from your home, finishing tasks you've avoided. These small actions send a signal that you are ready to host new energy. Second, honor your body. Sleep a little earlier, drink more water, breathe on purpose. Restoration is a form of spiritual preparation. Your next level requires a nervous system that is not constantly in crisis mode. And third, set quiet, firm boundaries. You do not need to announce them loudly. Simply stop overgiving where there is no reciprocity. Stop investing in connections that drain you. Stop explaining your worth to people committed to misunderstanding it. The moment you do this, your energy shifts, and so do the people standing at your door. For some Scorpios, the wealthy man will appear connected to travel or relocation. You might be offered a position in another city, invited to move for a project, or supported in transitioning into a different environment entirely. Don't assume relocation always means crossing the world. Sometimes it's simply moving from one level of living to another, from chaos to order, from instability to consistency. What matters is that this person becomes a catalyst for movement. They might say something like, "You don't belong in this small box. Let me help you step into a bigger room." The Scorpio within you may flinch at this. You're used to being the one who helps, not the one who is helped. But this time, your healing will require you to receive. Your pride might resist at first. I don't need anyone. I've survived everything on my own. And that's true. You did. But surviving alone was never meant to be the end of your story. It was a chapter, a necessary one. Now comes the chapter where you are supported, where heaven sends hands to hold what you've been carrying by yourself. This doesn't erase your strength, it multiplies it. Imagine what you could do if you were no longer exhausted from doing absolutely everything alone. Imagine what you could build if you had someone who says, I have the resources, you have the depth. Let's create something that honors both. That is the kind of alignment your soul is ready for. Still, divine help doesn't cancel discernment. Not every wealthy person is heaven sent. You'll know the difference by the fruit. Does this person bring peace into your life or pressure? Do they listen when you speak or only speak about themselves? Do they honor your boundaries or test them? True alignment will never require you to betray your inner knowing. The man who is truly sent, whether as mentor, partner, or ally, will recognize your no as strength, not a challenge to conquer. He will not rush you. He will not dangle his resources like a leash. He will stand on his side of the bridge and say, when you are ready, I am here. Abundance never needs to manipulate. As this energy approaches, you may notice small signs first. Conversations about opportunities in new places, people asking for your skills more frequently, unexpected encouragement from those you'd never expect to notice you, messages about contracts, collaborations, or long-term projects, a sense of restlessness mixed with hope, and moments where you catch yourself daydreaming about a different lifestyle, and for the first time, it doesn't feel ridiculous. These are previews, spiritual trailers for the next episode of your life. Treat them with reverence. Allow yourself to say, maybe this really is for me. Not because you're entitled, but because you've already done the inner work that so few ever choose. If these words are stirring something in you, Scorpio, anchor that feeling. In the comments of your life, whether you write it down physically or whisper it in prayer, declare, I am ready for aligned support. I'm ready to be rewarded for what I did in silence. That's more than a cute affirmation. It's a permission slip. Heaven honors willingness. When you say, I am ready, you are not forcing the timing. You are aligning with it. Think of your heart as a door. These words turn the handle. The rest is grace. And as this wealthy man moves closer in the unseen, remember this. He is not the miracle. You are. He is a vessel, a delivery system, a chapter character. The real miracle is how you refuse to let pain make you cruel. How you walked through betrayal and didn't decide that love was a lie. How you survived being overlooked and didn't decide that you were worthless. Heaven is not paying you back like a bank. Heaven is acknowledging who you became when it would have been easier to collapse. When reward comes, it's not a prize for perfection, it's a mirror for transformation. Before we close, let your spirit absorb this gentle truth. Messages like this are not chains, they are invitations. What you're hearing now is a narrative, a symbolic map of one possible path your soul can walk. Think of it as a story placed in your hands by a loving universe, a reflection of a potential timeline written for those whose hearts vibrate at this frequency. If it resonates with you, if it feels like someone has been spying on your prayers and turning them into language, then keep what strengthens you. Let it water the seeds of hope you thought were dead. And if it doesn't, if something in you says, "This isn't mine," let it pass through you like a breeze through open windows. Not every message is meant for every soul, and that's not a failure, it's just alignment. These words are offered as spiritual contemplation, not as a guarantee, not as financial, romantic, or professional instruction. They are here to remind you of your own power to choose, to discern, to co-create with the divine what your next chapter will look like. So Scorpio, as you breathe in this moment, ask yourself quietly, am I willing to live as though heaven really has seen my silent efforts? Am I willing to stop lowering my light to stay where I no longer belong? Am I willing to welcome support, even if it comes in a form that challenges my old identity of the one who carries everything alone? If your answer, even faintly, is yes, then let that yes echo. Let it shape your next decision, your next boundary, your next act of self-respect. Somewhere in the unseen, a man of means is being guided by nudges he cannot quite explain. He doesn't know it yet, but those nudges are leading him toward a soul who has been faithful in the dark for far too long. Heaven has seen your silent efforts, Scorpio. Not one tear, not one prayer, not one sleepless night has vanished into nothing. The return may not look the way you once imagined, but it will feel like something your spirit has been waiting for. Walk forward with open eyes, grounded feet, and a heart that refuses to apologize for the blessings it is finally ready to receive.